Hi there, this is Tannen from Retreat Guru, and in this video tutorial we are going to learn how to create a basic program. So looking at this beautiful, might I add, PowerPoint display, we can see that we're going to learn how and where to place program details, how to add featured photos, teachers, times and dates, and more. We are going to learn how to distinguish between the different types of program dates. So there are flexible dates, there are ongoing dates, there are fixed dates, and which one is the most appropriate for the program you're creating. We are going to learn how to distinguish between the different pricing methods and understanding how the pricing methods work and which one, again, is most appropriate for the program that you are creating. We're going to learn how to build a registration form per program, how to set up automated emails, including the standard emails and the pre and post registration emails. And finally, we're going to do a test registration to look at the beauty of what we've created and just ensure that everything is functioning as intended. So let's get right into it then. Logging into your Retreat Guru account, getting on the dashboard here, we will click into Programs, and you can either go to Add New or just click on Programs from here and then click Add New. So first of all, we have the title. Let's go with Yogi Bear Retreat. I heard Yogi Bear is a pretty good yogi, so I think we're going to get some traction on that one. And then we're going to look down under the Information tab. We see here Program Dates. So as I mentioned earlier, there are 4 styles of program dates to choose from. There's standard, fixed dates, hotel, which is where the guests choose their stay dates, package, which is a fixed length, so you can make a 4 or 5 day long package, and then the guest has the option of choosing when the start date is. And then finally there's ongoing or dateless program dates. So that's really good for online courses, things that are being continuously offered in that way. So let's go with a hotel style for this example, but I also want to just show you package quickly. So if you wanted to make a 4-night package for guests to choose their start date, and let's say there's a certain day during the week where you don't want them to be able to start, you can then exclude those start dates under here, and it gives you a little more control over when the guests are going to be starting their package. So just to quickly go over that, standard fixed dates is very standard. You can see there's a start date, there's an end date, and we're going to go with the hotel style date. So we're going to do a minimum of 2-night stay, and we will leave it at that. And then over here we have teachers. So teachers are created under programs, and you can go to Add New Teacher. And once a teacher is in your teacher bank, you can then select them from while editing or creating a program here. So we're going to just select a couple random teachers. Beautiful. And then down here in this white text box field is where you can add all the program description details. So program description. So that's kind of just a placeholder to give you an idea of how that works. Of course, you can then play around with bolding and stylizing it in any way that you would like. And then we're going to scroll down and we're going to look at the set featured image. So this is the image that your guests are going to see when looking at the program description or viewing the program on your website. And we are going to use the media library, and we're going to pick a nice Yogi Bear here. Perfect. One thing I will quickly touch on, since this is a basic tutorial, I don't want to go into too much detail with the more advanced functionality, but with program categories, you can group certain programs together. So say you have several Buddhist meditation retreats that you're offering. You can then add that category to the program, and then you have the option of displaying your retreats by category on your website through giving the program a category in that way. So it's just a really nice way of grouping your different programs of same likeness together and displaying them together, organizing them together on your website. And we can scroll down further, and there's some more program information. You can enter time and date details here. So starts Monday morning, 9 a.m. Departure 4 p.m. Tuesday evening. So those kind of things. You have location, so we can do a quick location, address, contact person. So what I'm going to say about contact person, under reg settings, in fact I will click into that now so you can have a look. You can see that under the under the registration notification email, this is where your guests are going to receive the email from. So in the from section of the email, when an email is sent out, when a guest registers, they're going to see it was from, Olivia and Tannen. So if you want to override that default setting, you can then add in a new contact person name here and email. So when a guest registers, this is going to be the person that they see they're receiving the email from, and this is the email that they will then respond to instead of the default that I just showed you under registration settings. Great. So we're going to move on to pricing now. So for pricing, again, there are several options to choose from. You have simple multiple pricing. So that's like you can set one price, one program price that includes lodging, that includes meals, that includes everything essentially. And you can even set a couple different prices. So one might be slightly more expensive for the VIP experience, let's say. So you can set several simple prices per program if you would like to do so. And then we can get into lodging-based pricing. And one thing to note with simple multiple pricing is it does not connect up with your lodging inventory. So if you are tracking where your guests are staying in relation to your rooms and your lodging, you definitely want to go with lodging-based pricing. So here we can add like a base tuition of say $1,000, and then that's going to be automatically calculated into the lodging costs. So you can see here that there's a total price of $1,250. So that includes the one night stay lodging cost plus the base tuition. And then you also have the option of modifying your lodging price if you would like to do so per program. So it just gives you a lot of functionality and power in that way in setting your prices the way that you would like to have them. So we're gonna leave that as it is for now. Scrolling down, we can see optional items. So here we can add in, if you want to offer your guests massages, you can do that. Here we have max quantity, so a guest can have they can register for up to 5 massages here. And then you have your transaction categories. So, it's gonna go under price add-on, but if you would like to create your own transaction category, you have that option as well under reg settings. And again, that's a little more advanced, so I'm not gonna go into that now. Just good to know that you can do that. And then we also have per night pricing. So if this is going to be a reoccurring charge, so say for like a yoga class, so say that there's going to be a yoga class every day, and you want to give your guests the option of registering for each one, you can do that here, and you can select per night price. And again, we can do price add-on. Okay, now we can take a look at early bird discounts. So we can set it to active. One thing worth noting is that this is not included in some plans. So you're going to have to check with what is included, the features with your plan. Believe it's not included in the Mandala plan. So, but anything above that, it is included, and you can add it on as an add-on if you would like to use early bird discounts. And we're going to set it to active. So if you want to, offer some incentive for your guests to register early, you can do that with a percentage or a fixed amount discount. So we'll say $100 off if your guests register 60 days before the program starts is when it begins, and 30 days before the program starts is when it ends. Over here on the right hand side, we can see deposit. So here we have the options of giving guests the ability to pay the total only for the program when they register. We can give them the ability to pay a deposit or the total for the program, and that can be a percentage of the total or a fixed amount. Or we can, more like an application, we can give the guests the option of only paying by deposit. So that's, some of our clients like to do that for like an application fee. So a guest can apply, and then if they are approved, then you can send them an email with a payment request for them to pay the remainder, letting them know they've been approved, and you can move forward from there. So we're going to do, we're going to give our guests the option to pay a deposit or the total, and the deposit will be 50%. And then down here we can quickly touch on discount codes. So you can see that these are all my created discount codes, which are again found in reg.settings under discount. And you can create your own discount codes and have them active for all programs or set per program. And again, that can be percentage or a fixed amount, and just something good to be aware of when you're creating your programs. Okay, looking into registration. So this registration form is where you build out the registration form that your guests are going to see when they're registering for your program. So if you want to include gender and birth date, special diet, these are all the questions your guests are going to see and answer upon registering for this retreat. And you also have the option, of making certain questions required. So say that you really need to know their phone number. You're going to want to click that required box, and your guests will not be able to register until they have answered all the required questions. Questions that do not have a required box checked do not need to be answered for the guest to register. So good to be aware of that. So this is where we build out our registration form, and if you're not seeing all the questions here that you would like, it's as simple as going into your question bank and adding a new question, and then you can select that new question for the program once it's been created. You even have the option of setting a new question as a default for all new programs that are created from that point forward. And then over here on the right hand side, we can see registration options. So right now online registration is open. You can have it as not required or closed, or even you can have registration through another website. So if you just want to have, the program description on your website or wherever you want to have it listed, and then you can redirect them to another website for the actual registration process. Accepting payments right now is enabled. Beautiful. Capacity and waiting list. So here we have a max person capacity. So say you have 20 rooms available and you want to have a max person cap of 15 for the retreat. You can set that, and then once it hits 15, registration will be closed and no more people will have the option of registering, even if you have rooms that are still available. And of course you can enable a waiting list. So if you have that enabled, everyone who registers after the 15th person will be added to the waiting list, and you will be able to see their limited contact info through that. There will be a waiting list for the program, and then you can notify them either one by one or through bulk email that a spot has become available if and when one is freed up. So good to be aware of. You can also restrict the registration to people only on the waiting list. So if a spot opens up and you don't want a new person to be able to register, you want to just save those spots for people who are waiting on the waiting list. Very kind and courteous thing to do of you. You have that option there as well. Okay, so we're going to go into email now. And again, this is the basic tutorial. So if there are certain things that I do not cover here in this video, I encourage you to send me a message or send us a message and request what would you like to go into more detail about, because it's very helpful to get that feedback for us. So email options. Right now it's set to the standard registration email. So again, we find that under reg settings, email. Here's the registration notification email. This is the default notification email that your guests are going to receive upon registering for any retreat that you offer. And if you want to change that per program, you can do that. So you can do a custom registration email. You could actually build it out right here. You can add an attachment, or you can pick from any one of your email templates and just simply drop that in there. So if you have several different registration notification emails that you use depending on the program, those will be available here that you can then just drop in. For this purpose, we're going to just use the standard registration email. And then we have pre-arrival emails. So let's say you want to be extra kind and courteous and remind your guests to bring something 14 days prior to the program starting. You can do that. Forget sharps. Because no one wants to show up for a beach retreat with other shorts, right? That's not very much fun. So you can help your guests and stay in communication automatically through these pre-arrival emails. And you can even add an attachment. So if there's like certain clothing or certain objects or certain things you would like to remind your guests to bring, you can totally do that right there. And again, there's also the option of dropping in email templates. So if you have pre-built pre-arrival email templates in your reg.settings, you can then just use that template and drop that in there per program. Beautiful. You could even add a second one if you want to have a reminder, say 21 days before the program starts and 14 days before the program starts, just to make sure that things are really top of mind for your guests. We have that functionality. And then there's also the post-departure email. So right now it's set to the standard post-departure email, which again is found in the magical registration settings. Right here, post-departure email template. And if you want to have a different post-departure email template for this particular program, you can set it to custom post-departure email. Then you can set the number of days after the program ends, say 5 days, and you can have your own personalized message here for your guests. You can add an attachment if you like, and the share your experience shortcode is something that's very exciting to us. It's a relatively new feature. So this will give your guests a direct link to your retreat.guru page for the retreat, so they can then be easily prompted to go and leave a review for their retreat, for their experience, which is going to help boost your rankings and increase confidence for your potential guests who may want to be looking at joining you for a future retreat. So that's a really beautiful option that we've added there. And of course we have to show the template codes, so you can use these template codes in any of the email templates that you're creating. And advanced, we're not going to get into, because like I said, this is the basic tutorial on creating programs. So everything is looking more or less good for this basic program. I'm going to go ahead and click publish. Great, and then I can view my program here. Have a quick look at. As you can see, there's not much of a program description. There's flexible dates. wonderful. Is all the details or lack of, but you can see the details that were added here show up here. And here are the teachers that we dropped in. There's the featured photo. And now we're going to go ahead and do a test registration for this program. So with the hotel style dates, there's a minimum of 2 nights, which is what we set in the program. We're gonna say we're coming on the 8th and we are leaving on the 10th. We can choose from some different options here. I would love to have a massage. In fact, I'd love to have a couple massages and take a yoga class. And then we can set up a nice test. So all these questions you see here are what we added while we were in the program on that registration form that I was talking about. In fact, I'll just quickly go back to that so you can get an idea. Under the registration tab, all of these questions that were ticked here are the ones that are going to show up on this registration form. So we can see all these. Scrolling down, beautiful. We're going to pay a deposit. So 50% is due now. The total $945 on credit card. Yes. I'm going to register now. And we have a nice fake credit card that just pops in here, Joe Schmo. And beautiful. Registration went through. And we can see the program, Yogi Bear Retreat, the stay dates, the guest name, all those details, the charges here, and the payment for the deposit. Wonderful. We can even scroll right down to the bottom and see under sent messages the email, the registration notification email that was sent out to this guest upon registering. And this here at the bottom, you can see all emails that are sent out to a guest in relation to this particular program at the bottom of the registration or of the guest dashboard. And one thing I will mention is if your site is live, a good way of doing a test is creating a test program and then disabling the payment. And then that way there isn't a credit card that's required to register. And then you can process the registration and have a look at the email that is sent out and all the details and make sure everything is looking good to your eyes without needing a credit card. Because if your site is live and payment is enabled, you're going to need to use your credit card. So that's the basic tutorial on how to create a program. Hopefully that wasn't too much information, and if it was, there's always the option of doing an instant replay and rewinding back to spots that you would like to be reminded of. And once again, please let us know if there are certain areas that you would like us to touch on, certain things that you would like to learn more about, because we are happy to share with you our passion on retreats and setting it up in a way that is going to make your life just a little bit more easy. So that's all for now. Thanks for dropping by, and more videos to come. Okay, take care.